Hi guys, welcome to For Those Who Code. In this video, we'll be learning about implementing OAuth inside our single-page application with Vue as our front-end framework of choice. So let's get started. So now, before we dive into any code, let's first understand how we will be implementing OAuth with our single-page application with Vue. So first of all, let's see what OAuth is actually. OAuth is actually industry standard protocol for authorization. OAuth focuses on client developer simplicity while providing specific authorization flows for web applications, desktop applications, mobile application, and other devices as well. It gives developer an option to make their application more secure without having to be a security expert. With OAuth, we can delegate authentication flows to a server. It uses various authentication. They are called as grants. So we can see there are a lot of grants available to us. These are many type of grants available. Some are machine-to-machine communication or IoT world and many more. So we have the list of grants available, implicit and authorization code grant, which we'll be focusing on. So implicit grant. This type of grant is simplest form of authentication which can be added to our single page application. This is perfect when we have SPA or single page application which connects to a endpoint or let's say an API. So implicit grant, when our application is not logged in first 1, 2, 3, 4 are the steps. So first, when our application it's in teal color, API green, OAuth server is red. So when our application is not logged in, it sends down the request to the authorization server, red. So yeah, then the authorization server will validate the user identity, and in response, we get back the access token too. So this is an important part as we don't have to deal with local credential inside our application at all. The token we get from the authorization server too will be used to communicate with our API. And behind the scene, API has a shared secret between the authorization server as well. And if the token is valid, it gives back the request back to our single page application, the client for. So this looks simple, but we can still be insecure if someone can hijack our token and can impersonate our users. So we'll have to look for a better approach to deal with it. So here comes authorization code grant. So in this case, we will receive not just a token, but instead of a token, we'll receive authorization code. First, 1, 2, 3, 4. First, we send down the request to the OAuth server, and we get back the authorization code. We can share this code with our server, where our server will request to get both access token and the refresh token as well. Our server will use this token to access the resources from our server. The authorization code we mentioned is a temporary code that a client will exchange for an access token. The authorization code flow offers a few benefits over other grant types actually. When the user authorizes the application, they are redirected back to the application with a temporary code in the URL. The application exchanges that code for the access token. When the application makes the request for the access token, that request is authenticated with client secret, which reduces the risk of attacker intercepting the authorization code and using it themselves. This also means that the access token is never visible to the user, so it is the most secure way to pass the token back to the application, reducing the risk of token leaking to the attackers as well. So let's dive into the code. So I have bootstrapped my project with Vue CLI, and right now I'm running at port 8080, So what I've done so far is I have created some of the view files like about callback.view, which we will use this callback dot view after we hit the auth 0 server. And the main file is home. Currently we are looking at home, and we have a about route. This is about, and the private. So we will be securing our private route with auth 0. And then I have also created not authorized.view. So this will show up when our application is not authorized. And everything that I made inside view is imported in my main index inside router index.js. And I have imported all the view files, callback, not authorized, private, and home, and given their respective route over here as well. So now let's first create our new account if you don't have, or log into auth 0. So I'll first log in, and you can sign up and create a new account as well. So log in with Google, and then I'll choose for those code account. And after creating account, I'll be seeing a dashboard where I'll go to application section. And right now I don't have any applications created yet, so I'll go ahead and create application, and which will be me. And we will create a single page application, example Angular React View. So we'll be using Vue single page application. And as you can see, we have already uh, created an application. And if we go to quick start, and down here in the documentation, we can see some of the code that we can see, and how we can log into our application, but we will be coding a simpler way. So in our settings, inside our basic information, we can see name, domain, client ID, client secret, and these all will be used inside our application. So for this application, I will be using a library which is called auth0-js. Uh, so we'll be installing this library first, and after this library has been installed, we now uh, will create a utils folder, where we will add some our configuration file with auth0. So inside here we will import our auth0-js, which we now just installed through yarn. Import auth0 from. So now to connect auth0, we can also see in a quick start, and we can choose view for now. And to create an application, we need something like domain client ID uh, for our auth0 application. And these objects should be passed to the plugin used to provide the values for client ID and domain. So for that, we will create a constant and name it web auth new auth dot webauth. And then inside here we will define our domain right here. And then for that domain, we can copy this one as well, domain and client ID, as we just created it. And Other things we need is we can go to settings, and other things we need is redirect URI. So right now we will fill that empty, and other thing is response type as well, and which should be token or ID token, and then and we can define our scope as well. So now let's create another constant and name it login, and inside here we can um, use our constant we already defined dot, and we are using the method provided by OAuth dot authorize, and then now let's export what we have done so far, login, and yeah, I think we're okay for now. So let's go ahead and import our auth file, which we made inside our utils, inside our home component. So here we'll create a button, and on that click of the button, we'll create on-click handler, which invokes this utils auth and this function right here. So inside here, we'll create a button. So first, if its user is not logged in, they can see this button. For now, we will just write button tag, and then inside here we will define its type is button, and during on click we will invoke a function which will be login click, and then write login over here. So for that we need to create a method inside our export default, and the method is login click, and inside when the login is clicked, before that we will also import our login that we created from utils and auth, and then we will invoke this particular function right here. All right, looks good. Actually, I missed out a method, so it was method, so it should be methods. So let's save it now, and let's see after clicking login. What we can see here is code -1. Oops, something went wrong. So it's about configuration error. So what we need to do is we need to pass down our callback route inside allowed callback URLs over here. So let's add our callback URL over here, and for that we will go to localhost 8080, which we are currently, and add callback right here, and let's save this one. So let's go and refresh our Now, as you can see that in our URL section, we have our callback route. And this is why, because we added our callback inside our allowed callback URLs and give it a callback route. So inside our callback route, we have nothing but just loading. So inside here, we will use our lifecycle hook, that is before mount lifecycle hook, and we'll check the authentication and push our authorized users to our private route. So right now, everybody can access the private route. And so now let's move ahead and parse our response from the server. As you can see in the URL, we also have a special token with us as well. So let's parse the response from the server and write our lifecycle before mount hook inside our callback and push our router to private route. So for that, I'll just write token where we will store our token. So it's an object. So I'll create a new constant and name it handle auth, and we will have a callback where we will access webauth and use a method called parse hash. And inside here we have uh, error can be error or and auth result lt. Okay, and then inside here we will check if auth result dot access token and auth result dot id token. If we have the token, then we will execute this part of the code. We will assign our token dot access token to auth result dot access token, and then token dot id token to auth result dot id token, and then we'll invoke our callback function as well. And if we don't have any token with us, we will just pass down or just print out error. Now let's refresh it and go back to home. And now what we can do is we can go to our callback route, and then we'll add our before mount lifecycle hook. So this will be executed when we go to this route, and you can take a reference to lifecycle hook inside Vue to take into further details about this one. So inside here we will use with that, let me import what we have created just now, that is handle auth from utils, and here we can use this function we made there, and if we have any error, then we just for now console log our error, and we also stop our code right there with adding return. And if there is no any error, then we can just also logged in. Okay, logged in. Okay, and then we can just
use our router, and this dot router dot push dot push to our private route. So it's like VAT. Okay, so now everything looks good to me and everything looks fine, and you're logged in. Okay, uh, and this is a string. uh, Now let's check our console whether we will be printing out logged in, and we will pushing the path to private route. So let's click on login. Now we see auth 0 dialog box and sign it with Google, and we can choose photos to code and loading. Okay, this is a private route and we are logged in. So we have successfully got our token, and then we just parse our token and assign our token to respective uh, variables that we made, and we assign to our token to respectively, and then we invoked our callback, and uh, we inside our callback route we just checked our authentication and just pushed to private route. So now let's go ahead and let's take into consideration that if the user is logged in, then we don't see this div right here. If they are not logged in, they see a different div. If they are logged in, they see a different one. So let's create a constant and name it is logged, and we'll make the use of fat arrow, and inside here we can return uh, token dot access token, and we can also use new date, and we can use get time to get the time as well. And if it's greater than token dot expiry expire by expiry, and obviously they are logged in. So we can also add this particular token expiry to inside here. Token dot expiry is equal to new date, which gives date of today, and get time, and thus auth result dot expires in, and multiply it by it's in milliseconds, so it's just 1 second, and ultimately we will invoke our callback itself. So I think we are okay for now, and then we added our token expiry as well, and then let's save this one for now. Actually we made a silly mistake, it's dot expiry. So now let's log in again. So we are redirected to private route, everything works. So now let's move ahead and like if the user is logged in, then we don't share this right now, because we like checked whether our token expiry time is over or not. So if the users are logged in, then we show this. If not, we will show a log out button. So let's work on that one. Home. So here we will add our is logged, and we will import our is logged as well, and then inside our method we will or we will create data and inside here we will return if is logged, then is logged. Now inside here we will make the use of if directive, where we can write if the users this dot is logged, if not this dot if the users are not logged, then we see this one, and we can make the use of else, and log out for now. And as you can see that we are already logged in, so we see log out. So so now let's move ahead and create a logout button, and for that we need to create another new constant over here and name it log out users, log user out, and then so for logout what we need to do is, initially the token is an empty object, we'll just assign a token as empty. So we will now export this logout users from here and make the use of logout right here. And now let's create another function where we will create an on-click handler inside here and name it logout. Alright, and write this logout inside here, and then everything looks fine to me. And now let's also on this log out, okay, let's use camel casing for now, log out, then we will invoke this function right here, log users out. So I think this also function. Oh, now we'll also add this dot is logged, and this dot is logged to false. Initially it's false and it turns back to true. It's a boolean property, and it's now if we checked it over here, we will, yeah, everything looks fine to me. Now let's test it out that what we have written, and then As now you can see that our app is successfully working, and we're working really good, and we have access to a private route, about, home, and we can see the logout button as well. And if we click this, then we are logged out and we see a login button. So now our problem with our current application is we can still access the private route even if we are not logged in. So let's fix that up with router guards, with our which is provided by Vue. So to make the use of router guards, we need to um, have our uh, life cycle. I mean life cycle inside our routes. So like different hooks inside routes before enter and before leave. We can make the use of that one as well. So to make the use of that one, I will go to router and index. So inside here, what we can do is we can write our router guards, and we will guard our routes as well. So to make the use of that one, first let's import whether the users are logged in or not from is logged from utils auth, and create a function and name it auth check. We will check the authentication for each users, and we will guard our routes respectively, and we can um, uh, uh, this function takes three parameters: to, from, and next. So you can find in this detail in Vue router documentation as well. I'll not go into that one right now. And if is logged, then we can proceed to the next path. And the next path is if not logged, then we are inside not authorized path, or not authorized, yeah, and this is the exact path name. So let's paste it here, and then else we can so okay, auth check is defined but not used. So now let's make the use of our function auth check. For that, we will add our before enter route router. Route hooks, or technically it's route hook. So it would be before it acts as a middleware before entering to the private route. So now, as you can see that we have access to our private route over here, and we can visit every route that we have, and we also see a logout button. So private route, home, and if we log out and we enter private, then sorry, we are not authorized. So guys, I hope you got something initial ideas on creating your single page application with Vue.js, implementing auth 0 for your authorization as well. So thank you so much for watching my videos. If you guys want to learn more about code design and more, please like, share, and subscribe with a click down below. I'll be trying to make more better videos like this, so please find the link below to the GitHub links and other references that I have taken. So I'm really happy that to take you along my learning path as well. So see you in the next video.